This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about 5 phrases that PhDs, researchers, and professors will never say. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. All right, so this video is really geared towards people that are interested in doing a research career. They're interested in becoming, getting a PhD, interested in going to graduate school, all those kind of things, interested in becoming a professor, going into R&D, all those kind of things. And there's lots of different phrases that you will never hear anybody say when you go into this particular career, or it's just less common to hear this. The first one is, I can't. If you say that you can't do something, it just likely means you didn't try that particular thing. I'm being really honest with that. Often what you do is you try a particular thing and then you discover that it's difficult to do that thing, so then you just develop a workaround and you figure out the problem. It's a problem-solving career. You figure out how to get that solution to that problem to go around to actually accomplish the thing that you want to do. The second thing, and this is funny because we develop as we grow through this career, where at the beginning of our career, you want to say that you know everything, right? When you start out as a graduate student, you feel really proud about yourself that you're doing that particular thing. But then as you develop in the career, you really start to realize you just don't know anything at all. And you become less confident, less sure of what you're actually doing. And, at some point, you will believe that you really don't know anything. I guarantee this is going to happen to you, and that's you as a human being. That's you as somebody that's doing research, is developing as a human being and realizing that the world is bigger and broader than you are. And that is truly a wonderful thing, right? If you can recognize that you just don't know that much. And in fact, that is kind of the oath of why we do what we do when we do research, right? It's admitting that we don't know anything and that we're just going to tackle a little tiny thing and work towards trying to discover something or try to make sense of that particular thing, whether it's we're making a big contribution or not. We're working towards that particular thing. Now, the third thing that you're going to realize is most of us never admit that our job is ever done. In fact, that's why you end up seeing somebody that's 95 years old, a professor emeritus, that is working on a project that they've been working on their whole life, and they still like to do that particular thing because the job is never done. There's always more to do. There's so much we can do, and it is really encouraging to know that there's so much we can do and so much to discover. The world is we haven't even scratched the surface on all of the different things that we can study, and it is the world's your oyster at this moment. If you want to study the world, go ahead and do that. We really are just at the beginning of understanding the universe around us. There's so much that you can do, and as you work in the career, you realize that, golly, there's still more that I can discover. There's still more that I can go forward. And it really never feels that we're ever done with the particular career. Now, the fourth thing that you will discover, and this kind of is maybe a result of working with people, but you realize that you're really not that smart. There is many people around you that are very, very incredibly smart. So you'll never say that I'm smarter than you are, because first of all, it doesn't really make any sense, because what you're studying is kind of independent of what everybody else is. So why would it be conditional on what everybody else is studying? But, the second thing is that you realize that there are really, really smart people in the world, and you do bump into them, and you're like just really blown away at how clever and interesting those people are. And often we feel the opposite, where we feel that we're completely inferior to everybody else around us. That's more of the feelings that you get as you work in the career, and you discover that people are doing things that you wish that you could actually do, right? So, and this is this is symptomatic of everybody once you get in the career, that you wish that you were somebody else, that there's somebody else that is doing more wonderful and interesting research than you're doing, and you think your research is not all that smart and not all that clever. Guarantee you're going to go through this experience when you're doing it, because you're like, this stuff is really boring, I've already done it, why am I actually going to do this again, right? So whereas somebody else's stuff looks interesting, right? They're like, wow, you've done this, I would never have thought of that. And this brings me to the fifth thing, and you will never hear anybody that is in a research career say that the world is boring. Even the tiniest little thing around us is really, really interesting once you start looking at it and studying it. It might seem boring. It might seem like an inanimate object. You know, you might look at a piece of paper and you might think, well, it's just a piece of paper. No. There's all sorts of stuff that are going on behind that piece of paper, right? So you got to understand how, what is it, the lichen? I might be saying that wrong, but you know, the molecules within the paper sort of form to create paper. You know, how do you get from a tree to a piece of paper? Well, there's lots of chemical processes to get there. And then, you know, what is going on with the molecular structure that's going on with the paper? How do we make sure that it actually gets whiter? What does that mean? You know, what are the processes to do that? How do we ensure that we can develop paper that is not harming the environment? There's so many things that we can do to investigate, you know, different chemical compounds. What can we do in terms of making sure that this works better? How do we ensure, or how do we develop a paper that is, you know, flexible but doesn't tear? You know, there's so many different things that you could do in this particular career, and there's so many questions and so many different ways to look at something that is really boring that we would all discount and say, well, that's really boring, but it's not. There's really incredible things that are going on behind the scenes, and you just have to sort of sit there and say, I wonder, I don't know, what if, you know, just start asking all these questions, this sort of why questions and how questions, and all of a sudden the world is just incredibly interesting. And it doesn't matter what you're looking at, the more that you actually study the world, the more exciting you get, or the more you feel excited about the world, and the more amazed that you see that the world is amazing, and how we actually, you know, one thing that's really weird is that, you know, we're all independent individual people, but we all develop and grow. The society grows around us, and we develop a bigger society that is thriving, that is working. We have organizations that do really cool and interesting things. I mean, how does that all work? We don't know. You know, we might sort of understand little tidbits of all this kind of stuff, but we don't really know how all of this kind of stuff works. There's so much to study. The world is so incredibly interesting once you start pondering these questions and start going in those directions, that you will just want to do this forever. So that's all I want to talk about. And those are the 5 phrases that PhD researchers and professors will never say. I can't. I know everything about that particular topic. The job is done. I'm smarter than you are, and the world is boring. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.